Hey all you witches and beautiful spiritualists, it's me, Prosperity Witch Ellie, and today it is a lovely little video. Today we are going to be talking about the goddess Hekate. So a little while back I made a video kind of similar to this called My Lessons with Apollo or something like that. I'll put the card up somewhere around here. In which I talked about my relationship to the god Apollo and how my practice looks with him. This video is going to be following a similar format and hopefully will show a little versatility in my practice. The other thing about this video is that I am making it as a means to be kind of like a love letter slash offering in its own to the goddess. So hopefully that's the energy I'm going to be putting out there. Overall though, this video is going to be a fun little one, informative, and kind of, well, hopefully entertaining as well. Oh, and one more thing. Apparently, right now on YouTube, there's this little hashtag kind of thing going around called the Hekatean Witch Tag. I'll drop some videos and some info on that in the description below, where basically you answer your questions about your relationship to the goddess and how your practice looks. I'm somewhat participating in that, though not at the same time, because I have my own structure. The tag itself has a different structure than how I like normally doing things. Nevertheless, I hope it's a fun time. I'm going to be answering some of those questions in my own way and just overall painting a picture about what my relationship is like with the goddess Hekate. So sit back, relax, grab yourself a drink, maybe a snack, because I never know how long these videos tend to be, and let's talk about the goddess. But before we officially get into it, I wanted to let y'all know that my sources for today's video are the following. Of course, I'm always going to reference classical texts like Hesiod's of Working Days, as well as his Theogony, and Liber, Kthonia by Jeff Cullen, as well as my own personal genosis with the goddess, and the Sorcery of Hekate course by Jason Miller. All of that info will be in the description below as well if any of you guys are interested. But enough rambling, let's get right into the video, shall we? So let's talk about the goddess Hekate. Firstly, who is she? She's often called the Goddess of Witchcraft, the Keeper of the Keys, and the Guardian at the Crossroads. In the oldest sources, she's a liminal figure moving between worlds, guiding souls and holding power over land, sea, and sky. She's associated with torches, dogs, and the new or dark moon, and most importantly, unseen places where choices are made. While modern witchcraft often depicts her as a goddess of magic and the occult, in antiquity, she was a protector, a guide, and a bringer of blessings to those she favored. So, how did Hekate come into my life? Well, as most of y'all know, I am first generation Greek American. My father came from Athens, Greece, so in a way it was through lineage, but I would argue it was also through study. I am a profound seeker of knowledge. I love learning, I love adapting, I love growing in all things mystical and magical, and so I feel like she came into my life because I pushed that kind of energy out where I just want to learn. And again, through my wanting to learn, I came across Jason Miller in his Sorcery of Hekate course, which overall was an intense deep dive into the goddess herself, what she's about, who she is, and what she can do, as well as what you can do with her. And I will like to say that it was met with some resistance. My overall early connection with her was met with some resistance. It almost felt like I had to prove myself, especially when I first started Jason Miller's course. Because you see, right from the get-go of his course, you are hands-on, greeting the goddess, introducing yourself to her, and overall forming a connection. And the best way I can put it is, my experience anyway, it felt like I was a kindergartner in a college-level course. And we already know how well I do with structure, Let's just say that I had to take the course. It felt like a test. A good 3 times before I finally understood what the course was about, what my connection to her was, and finally started adapting it into my own practice. Now again, my experience with the goddess is going to be different than, say, my friend Fire Lotus's or my friend Killian. Shout out to you guys, by the way. But that's just that. My experience with her was very teacher-student. She was a teacher, she was there to teach me, and I was there to learn. I wasn't there to be coddled, I wasn't there to have it easy. I'm still not here to have it easy when it comes to my connection with her. It is still very much structured, and I have to, in a lot of ways, I still have to prove myself, though not as hard as I used to. When it comes to Hekate at the Crossroads, however, my interpretation of the Crossroads is that of, I guess, more of a metaphorical sense. I mean, what are crossroads? They are choices, right? The actions that you take will influence the path that you go down. And so in a lot of ways, she has helped me really formulate a structure, not only in working with her, but in my practice overall. Am I saying I know what my path is? No. I mean, I have a good idea of what it is at the moment, but it definitely will change, and I'll go down a different road, a different path, if you will, in the future. Okay, so moving on, what does my practice look like with her? Okay, so you guys heard about the Dipnon, right? I've mentioned it a good couple of times on this channel. The Dipnon, if you don't know, is a dark moon or new moon ritual every month where you set out offerings to Hekate and the various spirits that work with and under her in order to achieve protection and give your gratitude, as well as, in my opinion, kind of have a whole reset and restart for the month to come. I will say I don't have any weekly or daily practices towards the goddess, mostly just because my life at the moment doesn't really fit having that style of practice. However, again, every month I make sure that on the dark moon or new moon, I set out offerings of eggs coated in honey, maybe some incense, and I spend time with the goddess because, in my opinion, the greatest offering you can give her is time, is devotion, is, in a way, yourself to her. I mean, think about it. We can always get eggs again, honey again, we can get incense from a store, you know, but the one thing we can't give back, or get back, I should say, is time itself. And it's from my personal experience that giving her time, devoting some time to her in doing acts such as this video or spending time outside in honor of her, I find that in those moments I have very more profound and enjoyable experiences. And in terms of tools that I use, I often, when it comes to Hekate, use keys and my mala beads, which, one second, let me show you. This is one of my favorite keys that I have. I got it from an antique shop, I want to say 3-4 years ago, give or take, and I mean, look at it. It's big, it's bold, it's coated in oil, oh my god. A lot of times when I'm doing some sort of working, you will see this on my altar, you would see this involved in the working in some degree, because I always involve Hekate in that sense into my workings by honoring her, by allowing her to be there and guide me in whatever I need guidance in. And then of course my skull mala beads, because I am a skull kind of boy. I love my skulls, I love my skull imagery, my death imagery, if you will. No, I don't really see Hekate as a goddess of death, but I do see her as more of a psychopomp. I mean, she leads and guides souls to the afterlife here and there, and she can help be the bridge between the afterlife and the present physical world. So in correlation with my Apollo practices, it is definitely a two sides of the same coin kind of thing, whereas my Apollo-like practices are very light in the daytime, very bold and bright. My practices with Hekate are very dark heavy, if you will. Not in the Hollywood term where it's like evil, because good and evil are human concepts. I will preach that to no end. But to put it in a weird perspective, I used to be afraid of the dark. I used to literally not want to do things at night or be in a dark room until I started working with the goddess, and she said, no, you're gonna immerse yourself in this environment and you're gonna pursue and push through in order to grow. And that I did. And of course, a lot of my more baneful style practices are more so worked with her than Apollo. Not that Apollo and I don't really do baneful workings. We can and we will, but if I really need some like oomph, I'm gonna go to her. If I need like a return to sender done, or if I need to like up my wards and protections like that. I guess I'll try to dive deeper into that in a different video, but for now, just know that like there's ultimately a balance in my craft because of how I work with Apollo versus how I work with Hekate. Okay, so lessons I've learned while working with Hekate. So let's talk about boundaries and protection. In the sense of boundaries and protection, Hekate has really taught me when, where, and how to open and close spiritual doors. Well, spiritual and physical doors. If there's something going on in my mundane life, I have taken the lessons that I've learned from her and applied it in that aspect. But when it comes to my spirituality, when it comes to the more spiritual aspect of my craft, I have definite protections, I have definite boundaries and limits that I will set in stone before doing any working, before going anywhere new, and really establishing that connection in and under her. Navigating the unknown. Working with Hekate, I've been doing that for maybe, I want to say 2-ish years now, and in those past 2 years, I've really found comfort in darkness and uncertainty. Again, she helped me get over my weird little fear of being in the dark, in a physical level and in a more emotional level. Now I find it more comforting when I'm in more darker areas, not just like dark lighting, but like darker just areas overall, like a sketchy part of town. Or are cemeteries considered dark areas? I mean, I think they're peaceful. But hopefully you guys get what I'm trying to say anyways. And most importantly, she's helped me with empowerment. She's really helped me understand my spiritual gifts and my physical lineage, my Greek side of my life. I mean, in a lot of ways, when I'm researching my ancestry and really diving deep into my ancestors on my Greek side, I take that as another means to honor her. Growing up, my family, we were weird. We never really talked about ancestors or people from my dad's side. Why? I don't know. But it's through me doing research and connecting to that side of my life that I really cherish and give thanks to her because of that. And a constant lesson or trial that she has given me that I, in my opinion, still have yet to fully learn is that of structure. Structure in my craft, structure in my day-to-day. I am not a fan of structure. Why? I don't know. Again, as I said earlier, I don't like playing by the rules. I don't like authority, so maybe that's why. But it is through honoring her, it is through working with her that I've learned structure does have its benefits. And if I don't have a structure with her, again, this is just my personal experience, she tends to really knock me on my butt. So what her presence means to me now versus 2 years ago, her presence means to me that of, as I said, it's always been more of a teacher-student aspect. Every time she's appeared to me, every time she's like shown herself to me, it's always been in a time where there was a lesson to be learned, and I would always go about it in a more diplomatic sense. And how she has shaped my worldview overall, I'm gonna say that the best way she has shaped my worldview overall is by opening me up to a more magical life, because in my opinion, she is like almost the physical embodiment of magic itself. So again, anytime I work with her, anytime I do a magical working, she's always there. In a way, she's always there anyway. But guys, that's all I have to say about her in this video. Hopefully you all learned something. Hopefully I gave y'all some insight into my practice, how it looks at least with the goddess Hekate. Leave in the comments anything and everything to do with that goddess. Let's start a conversation about it. And as always, y'all, make wise choices, make delicious pizza, and I'm excited. Like, this topic, Hekate herself, is a goddess that I love researching and learning more and more about. So if any of y'all have any info, like I said, drop it down below. But yeah, make wise choices, make delicious pizza, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye. Cat, I kind of need you to get off the altar, especially get your butt off the candle. You're either A, gonna set yourself on fire, or B, set just something on fire, please. Oh my god, get down. Get away.